Hey everyone, welcome back to the Caspa Silver YouTube channel. And I got a live stream for you guys. It has been quite a while since I've done one, and I'm trying to make sure everything here is set up correctly. Um, so we're streaming on YouTube, we're streaming on Vivor, and we're doing the X Space to hopefully get some people to talk and chat about whatever you guys want to chat about. Um, Something else I want to add to the stream at least. Let me click add here. Window capture 2. All right, let's see. Yep, that's what I want to show. Perfect. So now everyone can at least see who's speaking on the YouTube stream. And is there anything else? think that's good. Um, oh, I lost the YouTube chat. But you know what? Actually, let's pop that into the stream as well so people can see that. Window capture 3. Is this it? Nope, that's not what I want. There we go. So we'll put this on this side. And all right, nice. I think that's good enough. So we got 22 viewers on YouTube. And we got some people in here. All right. So yeah, if anyone wants to come up and speak, it should allow you the option to come up and speak if you want to. Got any questions or anything? Let me add that. But yeah, let's go ahead and read YouTube chat. So, hey bud, been a long time. Can't wait till we have ETH level smart contracts setting up so many liquidity pools same day. Yeah, man, we're waiting for those smart contracts to finally kick in. I mean, right now there's just a lot of different solutions basically being proposed, and may the best solution win. Competition's good. But for me, when it comes to smart contracts, I mean, the main thing for me is just we need some good stablecoin support. I think stablecoins is a huge market that Caspa seriously needs to make sure it taps into. So, I have a question that I have not had an answer for yet. Drop your question down below in the chat, and I will try my best to answer it. Hi from Spain. What's up? What's up, gentlemen? Bro, 21 people are watching. Welcome to Nano 2.0. Hey, man, I haven't been live in a long time, so I think a lot of people probably don't even get notified if I do something on YouTube. So, yeah, you know. What is exciting you the most in the short term with Caspa? For me, the most exciting thing for me right now is getting a fully working Cassia messaging on iPhone. We're currently helping a developer create an app for Cassia messaging. It's not going to be called Cassia because it's completely separate. It's a random developer who's just able to code on Apple. But it has notifications working. It has syncing, iCloud syncing working with Cassia messaging. So if you have an iPad, you have an Apple computer, you have an iPhone, all your messages will sync in the iCloud, and that way it basically functions like any other app you have in terms of messaging. Um, it allows you to send audio messages. The app is just very nice. It's very user friendly. I'm testing it a lot. I'm giving a lot of suggestions, sharing with him everything I think should be added so that it makes it feel like any other kind of app out there, but it's on the Caspa network. So that's just amazing. I really think the communication market for Caspa is going to be a really huge market that it should try to tap into as well as the monetary market, but communication is going to be huge. Cassia messaging, and then hopefully in the future that developer may even be interested in creating a K social media platform, an app for iPhone as well. I told him about Android. He said he's never done it before, but he can definitely look into it. So definitely, we want to get those applications to everybody. What is the meaning of life? The meaning of life. That's a very, very deep question. Meaning of life. Follow God, obey his commandments, and love your neighbor as yourself. That's the meaning of life. What do you think about Kai's warp core? Warp core, I think I recently did a video on that, if I'm not mistaken. Let me take a look here. Let's see here. Yeah, I recently did a warp core video a month ago. So you can kind of get all my thoughts from that video, how Caspa becomes a part of the ISO 222 market. That right there is a big one. Um, yeah, warp core, I think the market it's just not a guarantee of adoption, I think, for Caspa, but at least it allows Caspa to compete with the XRP bros and what they think XRP is going to be used for. It allows Caspa to basically be in the same boat with XRP in terms of that market with the messaging standard for financial transactions. What's next here? If Bitcoin keeps rising in price, how is it to become the currency of the world? Most people won't be able to afford it. Yes, that's kind of one of our arguments about Bitcoin. That if it continues to rise and get massively adopted, then essentially most people won't be able to afford it because if it gets massively adopted, the fees would just be too much. It's just not really built for massive use. That's why it's more of a store value anyways, because they don't want to scale the base layer. I see here in the space we have Ezra who came up to speak. You can go ahead and unmute your mic and try to speak.
Testing.
I hear you loud and clear. I hope everyone hears you on the streams. I think they do. It should all work. But what's up, man? How you doing?
You know, the answer to life is 42.
42.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy reference.
I'm not aware. How far back does that go? Is it something recent?
Oh, it was a book and then a movie. I'm kind of surprised you haven't seen it, actually. It's kind of a running joke in Bitcoin.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, hey, I've only been in the Bitcoin world since 2020. Yeah. Like end of 2019 into 2020 is when I started getting into crypto.
Well, that
Uh,
makes sense.
yeah, so and I'm only 23, so I don't have a lot of life behind me.
Yeah, so they made this computer in the story to figure out what the answer to life was. And after waiting a billion years or whatever, they came back to the computer and it said the answer to life is 42. And they were very unhappy with that. So they made the computer design another computer, which turns out to be Earth, to calculate the answer to the question, which they did not know. And of course, that's what is the answer to the meaning of life is a trivial question.
Oh yeah, very. It kind of sounds familiar when you describe it though. Like I've probably stumbled upon it. I just don't remember.
Yeah, it was called Deep Thought. Does that ring any bells?
Hmm, maybe. What you described sound very familiar. It's just the name of it doesn't. Let me make a post. To get more people in here. But we got 37 people watching on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube on your computer, you should head over to Vivor and watch on there. To support the Caspa network, you can connect your wallet up to it, and you can donate Caspa or whatever. Not too many people use Vivor yet, but it hasn't really gotten a lot of attention.
Does K Social have a streaming, uh, you know, thing?
It doesn't. K Social is very like strictly Caspa network. Um, so anything you can really do on the Caspa network, that's like because every interaction there is communicating with Caspa. So I think trying to do something like that, I'm not sure. Like I think that will introduce some level of like centralization to it, possibly. Um, but I wonder. I mean, I guess maybe running an indexer and then allowing you to be able to do like a space like this and have the data kind of just be in that indexer may work, but you still would have to rely on someone to be running that indexer. That indexer will probably have way too much storage, and then it'll get difficult to kind of run that.
And the indexer is kind of like a transaction history type of thing, right?
Right. The indexer just like allows you to read the transaction data that's inscribed into the network. Every time you send like a post or a like or a follow, the indexer translates it into whatever it needs to for the website.
Right. There's this other thing called an ATAN, right? That they're working on, an accepted transaction something something, I can't quite remember, which is supposed to cut down on how much you need to store in, some format. They just use some field hashing to make it easier.
Oh yeah,
And
wasn't IGRA behind that? Like figuring out how to make it easier to store everything?
yeah, one of the guys at IGRA that I'm blanking the name of.
Yeah, I think it was part of KIP. Which KIP was a part of? Can't quite remember. But there's been so much going on for Caspa. It's hard to even keep up nowadays. And I feel bad because there's always people that want me to like cover their stuff, and I may take longer to get to it or whatever. And they may think it's biased or anything like that. I try my best to cover everything, and then I'm definitely going to avoid anything I feel like I wouldn't want to recommend to people because I just feel like it's not safe. And then on top of everything, I can't use everything that people build. It's just there's so many different wallets and design. I'm gonna end up picking what I feel is the best for myself, and then whatever I feel is the best for myself is gonna be like the main thing I'm gonna obviously promote because I'm not gonna want to promote something that I don't really even use.
Right, that makes sense. Can't wait for the iOS release of Casio, because
Yeah.
part of it seems like it is hard to use something that's difficult to get to. Like Cassia really only works on browsers, or I think they have an Android version.
Hmm. Yeah, 100%. We can build stuff all day, but if it's not user friendly, it really doesn't matter. And so I'm big on that, and that's why every time things are being done for Cassia or whatnot, it's like I'm straight there testing the app, giving feedback, trying to make it as seamless as possible to make it familiar like any other app out there because that's super important. It needs to feel like you're not even using Caspa. But this iOS client is really great, man. Everything's been working nicely. soon. The It should be a public beta soon for iOS. So I would say maybe within the month we'll see a public beta.
And I can't remember if they have kind of like how Discord has a audio file, uh, thing.
Hmm.
If there's something like that on Casio, where it's not really a video or uh, not video, but it's not really a continuous, you know, um, what's that word? Auditory like live stream thing, like you could record something and then send that.
So the iOS Cassia app does have audio recording, which is the first time we've seen that on Cassia. So the developer was managed to get audio recordings working. Now they can only be like 9 seconds long, but it's definitely a start, and I think there's ways to like increase that. Um, Definitely when you record an audio, it is a little bit more Caspa, well, Sompies, because it's still not even nowhere near one Caspa to send an audio recording. It's still like super super cheap, but it does cost a little bit more Sompies than normal messages. And I let them know that it would be cool to kind of, because right now you can only record 9 seconds and then you got to send it, but it'll be cool if like you can like enable a setting that basically allows you to do continuous recording, where every time it hits the 9 seconds it just sends it automatically and starts recording a new one for you, and that way it can kind of like you can have like a longer combo. um but it's really cool that that's possible. And then of course like sending photos is possible. He hasn't implemented that yet, but that will definitely come. The next build is supposed to introduce clickable links when you're sending to each other, so that way it's easy to send links to each other. But yeah, there's a lot coming to it. I'm gonna take a look at the YouTube chat. Is declining hash rate bad or good? Can you give some insights to some FUD I've seen online? Um, I would say that it's just not black and white. A lot of times, like if hash rate goes down, oh my goodness, it just means security is bad. But that's not necessarily the case, because when hash rate goes down, the network difficulty adjusts, and then miners that are able to bear the loss or are the most profitable are going to remain. And a lot of times in that event, it ends up being that there's more individual miners than before, meaning that essentially it's actually more decentralized, because the more individual miners you have, the better. And that way it takes a lot more miners to be able to try to get 50%. But on the other side of that is it even profitable to do an attack? Which it's still, even with the declining hash rate, it's still not as profitable to commit an attack. You're still better off just being an honest miner than trying to attack Caspa. All the cost that will go involved in acquiring 50% of the hash rate and then spending that electricity to mine it, it's just, it wouldn't really be worth it. It wouldn't be sustainable, because of how expensive it is to basically even try to do that in the first place. But I'm still mining, and I've actually been able to turn on more miners because the hash rate's lower. So my KS0 Pros have been online and they've been getting a lot of blocks. Um, yeah, I've been getting around like five to 600 Caspa a month so far. What is your greatest hope and your biggest fear for Caspa in the next few years? Um, my greatest hope is that it gets adopted, and my biggest fear is that it just doesn't get adopted. I mean, to me, Caspa is one of the last attempts at really trying to realize the vision that Satoshi originally had, peer-to-peer electronic cash, but build off of that foundation and be a global sequencer to allow its use cases to be much bigger than just simply monetary base. And so if Caspa doesn't make it, then I think that kind of just paints the story of what's the future for proof of work. Like, is it really going to be adopted ever? Unfortunately, maybe not if Caspa doesn't succeed. So I think it has to succeed if we even want proof of work in general as a consensus mechanism to succeed. It has to be Caspa, in my opinion. And then if Caspa doesn't make it, then I really won't be here anymore much. Won't I'm pretty much done with crypto after that. I really don't see a I don't really have a desire for any other project. What is Vivor? Vivor is a website that allows you to stream, but it uses the Caspa network. So for me to start the stream, I have to pay a little bit of Caspa to start my stream, but you make your account on the Caspa network, and people can quickly donate Caspa to you while you're streaming on Vivor. So it's just like another streaming platform, but with powered by Caspa, and its ideals are to be censorship resistant and whatnot. Obviously, at this current moment, it's not entirely decentralized. There's centralized aspects to this website, but for the most part, its goal is to utilize Caspa. I'm pretty sure they integrated like the chat in there. Also, I think it uses the Caspa network now. So when you're chatting in there, it's using Cassia messaging, I think, if I recall. Right. Reprog being designed to execute deterministic scripts in the Caspa ecosystem. How does the language manage the validation of complex conditions on UTXOs? That's a question that I wouldn't really be able to answer. My knowledge on vprogs is quite limited, especially considering vprogs itself is entirely new. It's pretty much like never been done before. So there's still a lot of information and research underway. But they did recently open source vprogs, so you can actually go to the Rusty Caspa GitHub and see the source code for vprogs to start seeing what's under the hood there. Price of Caspa in 2027. If you're new around here, I don't particularly do price predictions, but I will tell you that I'm here because I think it's going to be higher than where it is today, for sure. If Caspa was this great, why did it fall from 21 cents to 0.009 at one point? Um, well, because Caspa still follows the rest of the macro market. Uh, Caspa falling. This is something to note is that the price falling for Caspa really has not been because of anything fundamentally wrong with Caspa. It's because the whole entire market is falling. Bitcoin dropped from 120,000 all the way down to 62,000. Um, so it's just something that we have to face reality that Bitcoin is still 50 like 9% of this entire market, and that's probably not going to go away anytime soon. Um, but I think it will eventually start to decrease more and more. and maybe the dominance won't be so heavily just BTC. But when BTC goes down, rest of the market goes down. Altcoins usually fall harder. But on the flip side, there's a higher opportunity that when BTC goes up, the altcoins rise much stronger. So there's always that aspect of it. I sold all my Caspa at the end of 2024 and stopped following. What significant developments have happened since then? Man, there's a lot that's happened since then. End of 2024. So I think you missed that we're on 10 blocks per second. We're on 10 blocks per second now. There's been a lot of applications that have been built on Caspa now, things like Cassia messaging, K-Social, Vivor, just communication applications, streaming applications. There's a Caspa market now where you can post, you can make listings and auctions for things you want to sell. And so, people can buy it in Caspa. I personally just sold a miner on there and was able to find a buyer, and they paid me in Caspa, so that was really cool. So there's just a lot of different things going on. I suggest that you go to my news videos and kind of just watch that if you want to kind of stay up to date to what's been going on. Got another speaker that came up, Dan. If you want to go ahead and speak, you can now. Adoption is going to be without a doubt all that matters in the end. Most people are in crypto out of desperation from debasement and needing to generate unrealistic returns in order to keep up. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and the big thing about it is if you really want to be able to fight debasement and you are adopting something like Caspa, you should start actively trying to use it in your life. Do things that make you use the network daily. Are you going to participate in DeFi on IGRA layer 2 if it is more established than Casplex? Probably not. There's honestly nothing in DeFi that really interests me. A lot of it is more risky for my investment strategy, pretty much. But the only thing that I'm looking forward to is stablecoin support. But I most likely will not be messing around with any of the kind of things where you can kind of like borrow against your Caspa to get access to stables and stuff like that. I probably won't be using that stuff because it's just more risky. If you're trying to buy the best tech, Caspa is definitely in the conversation. Solana is a safer play, but I do believe risk happens fast as soon as anybody substantial look into the project. Yeah, Caspa is the best tech. Like on paper, Caspa is the best on paper. But then you just got to consider the other things that go into how this market operates, and it's not solely just the fact that you're best on paper. You have to be able to bring in demand, and so that's why many builders have been on Caspa and building loads of things to try to bring in demand and try to give people a reason to start using their Caspa. Please talk about the messaging and marketplace decentralized on the Caspa block DAG. Yeah, so essentially there are two things, two main things right now. Let me see if I can add a scene here. Switch over to my screen. All right, so here we are. So I'm gonna share with you guys, and this is for people who are on YouTube or on Vivor, you can see my screen, but I'm just sharing what's going on with Cassia. So there's something called Cassia messaging. This is an application that allows you to send messages to other people that have a Caspa address. It's this is fully decentralized on the Caspa network. The only thing that's quote unquote centralized about it is the person running this website, and the indexer that's behind it. Now you can run that stuff yourself. You can run Casio locally if you want to, which I have videos on how to do that. Look up videos on Cassia, and I show you guys how you can run it all locally and everything. But you can send messages to people on the Caspa network. You can also open up broadcast and whatnot. I can just like create a fake wallet here. Um, and so basically, you can just search for a KNS domain. So if you wanted to chat with me, you can just go to Cassia messaging and just do Caspa Silver, and my address will automatically pop up. You'll then need to send me a handshake, at the cost of zero point 0.2 Caspa, but then all your messages are going to be extremely cheap. With as little as one Caspa, you'll be able to send like over 10,000 messages. You can also go to the settings here, extra, and you can turn on broadcast. And broadcast is basically where you can join public rooms, and if anyone else is in that public room, you can chat with each other there. So that's basically what Cassie allows you to do. And then you have K Social Network. This is basically an X equivalent to what X is, just on the Caspa network. Um, you can see here that you could just make posts, you get notifications when people like your stuff or whatever. Every single comment, like, quote, post, everything is a transaction on the Caspa network. Fully censorship resistant, open source, and you can run this locally as well. Something else that was actually really cool that came out is something called castplay.fun. This is a place where you can play little mini games, and every single mini game you play, your score gets inscribed onto the Caspa network. So this has been really cool for people to play. I like to play this when I'm bored. I work from home, so sometimes it's a little bit slow, and I'll just hop on this website and play that. So yeah, castplay.fun, K-Social, Cassia messaging. We also got something called Casmart. You can see here that my score got inscribed. Casmart is just a marketplace for you to put any kind of listings, and accept Caspa for those listings. People are selling miners. There's currently a PlayStation 5 on Casmart going for $14 in a auction. So if you want to get an extremely cheap PlayStation 5, this is your way to do it. And I may actually put a bid on this because why not? It's literally a $15 PlayStation 5. Um, what else is around here? You got some miners. You got a drone. Just tons of random stuff.
Hey, Victor.
Yeah, what's up? What's up? Do you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, it looks like that was Dan. I think he was trying to speak. Something may be up with his mic. But yeah, if you want to come up and talk, anyone in the space, just go ahead, and you should be able to select to talk and then just open up your mic. Keep reading the chat. I don't know why cast people didn't push the topic
Hello,
during
Victor.
open claw. Yeah, Dan, you hear me? Hey, Dan.
Maybe third time's the try, or third try the charm, or whatever it is.
Yeah, needs to try 3 times. But yeah, push the topic during open claw bot. Cast is perfect for autonomous agent economy. Yeah. Um, I definitely want to get more, do some more research around the like just AI agents and how that relates to Caspa and why Caspa is the best probably network to be doing that kind of stuff on. I mean, Janssen himself said that this is the big thing about Caspa is we're not only reliant on humans.
Hey,
Uh,
Victor.
yeah, what's up?
I just like it as a gimmick. I actually don't have room to speak right now, but I figured I'd come up and just say, "Hey, Victor."
Hey, what's up, man? Thank you for joining. Um, but yeah, as I was saying, AI agents. Jonathan was already said that like his impression is like the next billion users for crypto are going to be AI agents. It's not going to be real humans. So we do worry about Caspa being used and whatnot, but let's not forget the fact that AI can be a huge factor of bringing use to Caspa that doesn't require humans. It's to actually be the users. I'm pulling for Caspa, but I feel adoption doesn't stand a chance without smart contracts. Um, Maybe. I mean, I don't think. I still don't think they're absolutely necessary. I think Caspa has a lot of ability to, without smart contracts, bring in a lot of use cases. Um, like KRC 20 alone allows a lot of capabilities that typically smart contracts would give you, and allows you to do that on the layer one. So, especially with this new hard fork that's coming for Caspa, which a video should be going out soon on that, it's going to allow you to do a lot more things on the base layer of Caspa that is more in line with what you can do on smart contracts. One, stablecoins. That is a good question. No one really knows. But it should be soon. There's always like rumors of it coming out, but at the same time it's like not sure if it's going to be a good implementation. We need a great implementation of it, not just like a bridge, but like it would be nice to legitimately see like Tether themselves integrate onto the Caspa network. Not someone just create some kind of bridge to Tether. Monero is the only fungible cryptocurrency. I wish Caspa had the privacy of Monero. Um, I am. I like Monero. I have a very little bit of Monero, just to kind of like test it out. I like, what they're doing. Privacy is good, but I just don't think privacy should be by default. Um, it just hurts with adoption for the many use cases and players, especially on the Caspa network already, that are trying to use Caspa for things. They would not be able to use Caspa if it was privacy by default. Um, so I think privacy should be built on top, though. I think people should come and build different tools, privacy tools on top of Caspa. I'm all for that. And I mean smart contracts on something closer to in layer one UX. Using Caspa as a payments network would crush every other method of sending value across the internet. But for that to be needed, the dollar needs to end. Yeah, in a sense. I mean, I think if anything, it's just more people need to find out about what you can do with Caspa, and then that it can be used as a payments network. And then on top of that, we need better applications so that it's easy to integrate Caspa into your normal payment flow. Marathon Mining is still mining Caspa. Yeah, they are. They actually are. K Social is cheap now, but if Caspa succeeds and the coin price skyrockets, won't transactions fee for every like and comment make the social network too expensive for normal people to use? Um, no, because if the like for it to actually become expensive, the price of Caspa would literally need to be like over $10 for it to kind of maybe be a little bit expensive in some people's eyes, but and over $10 is a significant market cap from here, so I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. So um yeah, like K Social is extremely cheap, and And in the event that um the fee market kicks in and it's a little bit too expensive, you can always just delay your message. Like you don't need to send it right away if you don't want to, if so that you can pay a cheaper fee. Proof of stake equals security. Proof of work equals commodity. I hope Clarity Act associates these cryptos accordingly. I think they're gonna just make. I think the bills in the U.S., if they pass or whatever for crypto, I think they're just gonna make all cryptos just be crypto, and they're not really gonna. They're not gonna label anything security. Not with this administration, at least. I don't think. You inspired me to create website and make shop. Yeah, man. Go for it. Go for it. Build on Caspa. You know, make a reason for people to use it. But yeah, I recently tried to run a node for Monero, and man, that was a pain. Like once you go Caspa, you really can't go back because it's just like running a node on Monero, running on Caspa, a Caspa node, and then trying to run a node on any other project is just night and day difference. Marathon mining mines roughly $900 worth of Caspa per day. Yeah, you can see that on the network. I disagree. Privacy should be built on the protocol layer, not as an afterthought. Privacy should be an opt-out thing, not an opt-in thing. Yeah, I get that view. Um, but I just see it as a um when you do that, you're not gonna really be able to get adopted globally because we still have to live in reality that there's governments and regulations. And I don't think this stuff is gonna like disrupt them in the sense that they're gonna just disappear or collapse overnight. So you got to do your best to, lack of a better term, be a Trojan horse kind of thing, where you're not essentially straight up going against regulations, but you are still giving people the sovereignty and the freedom that they need. And it's not like Caspa is just completely transparent in the sense that your entire privacy is lost when you use Caspa. There are ways to conceal your privacy pretty well, and be pseudonymous. Caspa needs marketing. Um, Marketing comes in very different shapes and forms. People complaining about Caspa needing marketing is marketing because that people who post that stuff is a post online that someone sees and they're gonna see Caspa and they're gonna be like, "What's this dude complaining about? Caspa needs marketing." Um, uh, you know, Honestly, I think the marketing aspect of Caspa it's really not been a problem. I really don't think that's been the problem for Caspa. Um, it's been heavily just following the rest of the market. Um, what Caspa needs are the best type of marketing is peer to peer, people telling other people, and then when you onboard people, they become users. I think that's the best type of marketing is users and then actually having good quality applications built that allow people to use Caspa. I think we got to look at the reality past personal bias. People wanted Bitcoin and it got adopted on the basis of fair currency, sovereignty, and deflationary value. Yeah, that's pretty much why I got adopted. And today, looking now in the future, it's lost a lot of its original thesis. It's no longer peer-to-peer cash. It's not viewed like that anymore. It's heavily viewed as a store of value, which is okay. It could do that, but that just leaves the door wide open for something to still come into space, and actually disrupt the peer-to-peer cash narrative. And I think Caspa is the best bet for that. Privacy is important, of course, but people really just wanted more sound money as there's an actual day-to-day use case. Exactly. Yeah. And there's, very easy to integrate privacy onto Caspa if needed, and it will be an opt-in solution. I care about my privacy myself, and I take measures to keep my identity as concealed as possible. But you can't really be perfect, unfortunately. But there's steps to take. Once again, anyone in the space, if you want to come up and chat, you can do so. Should be free to do so.
I really wish I knew what Dan was trying to say.
Yeah, I know. He hopped in, he backed out. Something was going on with the mic there. You're content with dealing with all the pain points of running your own Lightning node and managing channel states. Monero is going to scale by having its own second layer called the Grease network, and I believe will not have the pitfalls of the Lightning network. Okay, well, for Caspa's case, a layer 2 is not scaling. If you're going to scale, you need to scale the base layer. And, we don't need a layer 2 to scale Caspa. Layer 2s aren't being built to scale Caspa. They're being built to allow Caspa to run other applications, but not to scale Caspa. Scaling should be done on the base layer. And I think recently what we're seeing from Vitalik is very evident that he's waking up to the fact that he needs to scale the base layer, not layer 2s. How long do you estimate the bear market max buy opportunities? I'm not sure. I'm always just dollar cost averaging in. There's nothing telling me that I need to leave Caspa. Nothing fundamentally, at least. Bear markets can be brutal, but I honestly just don't think it's going to be the same. The days where Bitcoin rises like in a really crazy way, I think are not going to be the same anymore. But I could be wrong. For me, time in the market is better than timing the market. And I just rather dollar cost average a set amount that I'm willing to invest and lose. And then don't be afraid to diversify if you need to diversify. Personally, I don't necessarily diversify in crypto world. I only hold Caspa, Bitcoin, and very little bit of Monero, but those positions in Bitcoin and Monero are very, very insignificant. I'm still 99% in Caspa. My diversification efforts go outside of the crypto world. Caspa community needs to focus on promoting one thing, killing Ethereum by taking Ethereum's market share of apps built on it. 3,000 plus apps are built successfully on Ethereum, but they pay high. Yeah, I really think that once we get smart contracts and get applications, we can actually compete with Ethereum and actually drive home that narrative. But it's hard to drive home that narrative of Caspa being an Ethereum killer, which I believe it essentially can be, when it's still being built to be more competitive. I see Juan's in here. I think you came up to try to speak and then went away. Juan, what's up?
What's up, Victor?
Hey, how you doing, man?
Doing great, brother. How are you?
Doing great. Living on the Caspa standard?
Living on the Caspa standard, my man. Haven't you haven't hosted a Spaces in a while. It's great to see you host one.
Yeah, I'm trying
Um,
my best to get some kind of schedule on this. And
hey, you've
do
had to
these.
work, brother, like the rest of us. You know, let's be real. The price of Caspa's down a little bit.
Yeah,
I aped in last year, 16, 17 cents. I gotta create right now too. I gotta go out there and make things happen, not just hodl. So
yeah.
I,
It's
I know you're
it's
out there
it's it's
working
been
too,
tough
brother.
for sure. I mean, and not only that, like, yeah, I want to make content, but I recently had a baby, and then I'm
Yeah,
working. I'm working and taking care of my daughter while I'm working. So then I can't multitask as much as I used to anymore. While I work from home and
it's a
then
lot.
do some YouTube. So then I'm like, and then on top of that, it's been bearish, so the motivation is lower.
Yeah,
When
exactly. Yeah,
when it's bullish, it's you're way more motivated to make content for sure.
sure.
That's just
No,
being
and
real.
you're absolutely right. But I mean, you haven't disappeared.
Yeah,
It's I think the real ones are around. Make sure that you're still putting out content and everything like that, man. No, it's good. I know you sent me a message on Cassia messaging. I have you heard of the Casanova wallet? Do you know about that wallet?
yeah. I had gotten it this past week, tested it out, but then literally I found out that um, I sent you the. I don't know if you got invited to the iOS beta for that new Cassia client. But I found out about that app, and man, it's great. It's so great because it's strictly just for Cassia, like messaging. So it
Okay,
feels like
I
a
gotta check that out.
yeah. I think he sent you the link to the invite so that you can join the beta.
Was it from the? You know what? I thought it was like I didn't recognize the address. I think I know what you're talking about. I saw it earlier. For
Yeah.
sure. Cool. Yeah, I'll check that out. But on the Casa, I bring up the Casanova wallet because it's pretty sleek. And then I not a notification, but somebody randomly sent me like 280 Caspa the other day, and we put our address for the show that I run on with Bishop on Mondays and Beneath the Surface blockchain banter.
Mm-hmm.
But I had somebody randomly send me, and then I got a notification that I had Caspa sent to my Casanova wallet. I was like, I didn't even. That was pretty cool. 'Cause I don't have notifications really turned on, but
Yeah.
it's pretty sleek. Yeah, I just wanted to mention that if people haven't checked that out, check out the Casanova wallet. 'Cause I've been onboarding people like crazy on Caspium and Casanova. I can my one of my addresses is juan.cas,
Yeah.
and I just bought a couple domains for friends. I'm actually on the way to pick up a friend. I have like just a few more minutes, but I wanted to drop in and say hello and um, say what's up. But I
Yeah.
have
That's
like
awesome.
a few minutes here because yeah, man.
Yeah, this app has been really good. It has the notifications on this app work like flawlessly. So when you get notified, you literally see what was said. You could see them. It's literally like iMessage. Like it just
Oh,
feels
that's awesome.
it's
Oh man, that's gonna
very
change.
flawless. And I'm helping the dev test it out. I'm telling him what features to add to make it just feel like it's just like any other app out there. Um, and then yeah, he wants to also integrate KNS domains and be able to like buy a domain directly on the app as well. But for the most part, just keep it strictly messaging, and then you can also send audio files to each other, so you could speak to each other on it too, all on the Caspa network. So it's really cool.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay, man, that's super cool. Yeah, I'm gonna. I know I saw the email, so I'll definitely check it out. Tomorrow if anything.
yeah.
But
Hopefully he's gonna go
yeah,
public soon with the beta too, so that way a whole lot more people can get onto it. But I don't know. To me, I think the communication market is going to be pretty big for Caspa as well.
I think so too, man. I think so too. I did see a big spike in the Casilla. I haven't been checking the stats as often, but I saw a big spike. I wonder if that was
It's
people
probably a little
testing
bit
it
of
or
me.
whatnot. Yeah,
Yeah, I've been
yeah.
chat. I've
I saw a
onboarded
massive
a ton
spike,
of
man. That's
people
good.
on it and been chatting with friends on there. I've been using it like as a daily. Like it's that good.
Cool. Yeah, and then on Casanova, it even has your picture there, so it's different from because I had it that I downloaded it from the Google Chrome.
Hmm.
I had it as a link on my iPhone because I have the iPhone. And dude, when I saw the message, like I said, somebody sent me randomly the Caspa, and I saw a message from you. I'm like, oh shit, this looks like an upgrade on
Mm-hmm.
the Casanova, so the Casilla messaging comes through on the Casanova wallet.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So that's awesome, man. I'll check out the link for sure. But
Welcome
I'm
back.
here about to pick up a friend in Miami. Gonna have a Miami night with some buddies that are done from my college years,
Nice.
20 plus years ago, and I got to show them around.
Nice.
I'll show them around Miami, my man. Yeah. Just want to say what's up. Good to see you. Good to hear from you. Nice to chat.
Yeah.
We gotta do it more often, man.
Oh yeah, for sure. We definitely.
But I know you're busy. You're busy. I know you're busy, man. So do your thing. It's not easy raising a baby. I was there at one point. My boy, he's about to turn 13. So
Yeah, that's awesome,
it's
man.
not easy.
Yeah, she's 10 months, probably 10 months. So
Goes by quick, brother.
it's so
Trust me, it
quick,
goes
so
by quick.
quick. Already gonna be a
Take
year.
lots of videos, lots of pictures. It's pretty cool how maybe Caspa comes out with something better than the iPhone. I don't know, but it's super cool how my phone will remind me of videos. I'm one of those dads. I would record every little thing, and it's my boy is huge, man. He's a big kid, but he's still my baby, you know,
Mm-hmm.
my only child.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, capture the moments, spend as much time as you can with the baby, man.
Thanks,
Caspa's
man.
gonna be here through the bear and the bull cycles. It's
Yeah.
not going anywhere, bro. It's vibrating at the frequency of truth seekers, like I say, bro.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah, I
you know?
think it's not going. It's not over yet. Not over yet.
Oh no. I'm about to onboard some more people. Maybe just walk down the beach and do that too. We'll see.
That's awesome, man.
Yes, sir. All right, brother. I'm gonna hop off here.
All right.
Great to
Thanks
see
for
you.
joining for a little bit.
Yeah, man. See ya.
Peace. Awesome. Check the YouTube chat. I save mostly Monero since I can spend it and the government won't know that I spent my Monero. I cannot do that with Caspa. You actually can do that with Caspa though. Like, you know, obviously I'm not gonna advocate for avoiding capital gains taxes. Like if you're spending your Caspa and it's in a profit, that is considered capital gains tax in America. So, you know, make sure you pay your taxes. But there are very easy ways to I spend Caspa all the time without accruing a gain, and you know that it's not tracked. Like they don't know that. Unless I was to get like seriously audited, they would have to do tons of investigations, and then it still would be very difficult. But it's at the end of the day, you know, with taxes, it makes it a lot more difficult to even spend Caspa itself, which is why I always advocate for stablecoins, because I really think stablecoins is going to be a good onboarding incentive to bring people to the Caspa network. And then you can essentially save in Caspa, and then you can always just keep a little bit of money in stablecoins for your bills and everything like that. But I think the future is heading towards a stablecoin adoption. So like we're going to be seeing stablecoins get adopted within our own bank accounts. I really think that may be happening in the future. And then so it's just going to become a whole lot more integrated and easier to be in the crypto world. But you know, we'll see how that goes. Crypto Archie donated $9. Thank you so much, man. Great price to load up on Caspa. Yep. I mean, buy when there's fear and blood on the streets. That's when if you're a strong investor, you do your research. Typically the best time to be investing into something you've done your research on and you actually have conviction on is when no one wants it. Been sticking around for a long time. Casa's only serious mass adoption solution for crypto currently. I think so too. And if you really think that, you should change your picture to a Caspa logo instead of a Bitcoin logo. What does Caspa look like when Wall Street strangles the coin? It's gonna be a sad day. I think it's for sure gonna happen. But you know, I'm the first one to actually advocate for the fact that I'm really not a big fan of like ETFs for Caspa. I really don't think like I'm like no, I don't want ETFs. I don't want Caspa to just turn into this only store value narrative. Um, because at the end of the day, you know, if you just have ETFs come on and the only thing people are doing with Caspa is just incentive is just to only hold it, then it will fail because it needs to be used. So, um, you know, but I don't have a problem with it existing. You know, I'm just not a huge fan of it. I think for Caspa to be money, it needs to be store value and medium exchange. So it does need to be both. But I hope if an ETF gets created for Caspa, that company also finds ways to use Caspa. I think they should use it and save in it. Do both. Caspa's in good shape with 5% annual inflation to go zero in the next decade. I think the best is coming. Caspa market cap 1 billion if growth to 2 billion every year. This is below minimum Caspa to reach $1 in 2033. Um, yeah, you know, I think there's still enough time before the security budget becomes an issue. I think the inflation is enough for now, and we don't have to absolutely try to do something right now. Hi from Germany. What's up, man? Honestly, if the US government hands out $2,000 free money to everyone, would you buy a small fraction of 70K BTC or a decent bag of 3-cent Caspa? Personally, if I got $2,000 and I was going to use all $2,000 to just put into crypto alone, I would put probably 80% into Caspa and then like 20% into Bitcoin. I may even do 90-90-10. Capital gains tax is why I promote Monero over all other cryptocurrencies because the government can capital gains tax all your gains away, when in truth those gains may only really be phantom gain. Yeah, but the law is the law. And pretty much, you know, there's also decent ways to avoid taxes legally. Things like holding for a year and reducing your income and stuff like that. Do you think Caspa can ever reach 20 cents again? Yes. I'm here because I think Caspa can make new all-time highs again. With your debate with Rajat, he brings up the fact of him wanting to manually go through the transaction that you would send him so he can find the Coinbase reward. Doing that would take literal years. Well, the funny thing with Rajat is like he doesn't even realize that you know, he's arguing for the fact that, oh, you know, some of the history of Caspa was missing, whatever. I don't even think he realizes that when he goes on mempool for Bitcoin to see the Bitcoin transaction data or whatever, you know, he's trusting someone else's node. It's not like he's running a node and building his own explorer and verifying everything. You know, he's trusting someone else. There's so much levels of trust in crypto still. People think it's fully 100% trustless. No, it's not. It's not. Like there's aspects of it that require trust. But the goal should be to reduce as much trust as possible. Yes, no one looks at the transactions like that because in Caspa it's impossible for you to be able to accept an invalid transaction. And the thing with him wanting the entire ledger, well, he can always run his own node. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, he's not a yeah, Rajat was not is not a cryptographer. You know, I don't blame him. Like I'm not a cryptographer. I'm just more of a nerd. So I just kind of purposely study this stuff because I actually want to like not be ignorant to what I'm talking about um when it comes to Caspa. I think Caspa bleed now reflect on crypto market. I think adoption is huge. Otherwise, Aptos 1 billion market cap. Caspa barely touched 5 billion Caspa adoption. Um, I think it was crazy to see Caspa at 700 million market cap the other day. In fact, I don't even know where it is right now. Where is it right now? Let's see here. It's 858 million. I mean, I still think it's crazy that it's under a billion right now. That is absolutely insane to me. But to me, it's just like, okay, why is it this cheap? To me, it's only this cheap because Bitcoin went down. Has anything changed fundamentally? Nope. Everything has just simply gotten better. And not only that, on this recent rise that Caspa had after it had its drop to under 3 cents, it actually moved up 4 ranks. You know, it's crazy. Caspa's a $858 million market cap coin, but it's still ranked 60 in the entire space. So I honestly think Caspa has entered a blue chip status for the most part. Can you suggest a Caspa miner for a total beginner? A Caspa miner for a total beginner. Um, I think it just depends how much money you're willing to put in because at the current moment, like buying a miner is not you're not going to get rich off it. You're not going to be super profitable right now. But if you just want to learn, choose between either the KS0 Ultra or the KS7 Lite. You can find those on Ice River. So you look for either the Ultra or the KS7 Lite. The KS7, the Ultra is like only 120 something. In fact, what am I talking about? You can go on Casmart. What am I talking about? Go on casmart.org and there's some people there that are selling miners. Let me see. There should be some people that are selling miners. Someone's selling a gold shell miner for too much money. That's ridiculous. Okay, here. There's a KS7 Ultra right now going for $60 on Casmart. And it is $60 with 158 cash shipping. Yeah, so you can get it cheaper. Ice River is selling Ultras for like 120 something dollars or whatever. You can get one here for $60 and I think this dude will probably give you yeah, he gives you the power supply too. Which the power supply alone usually costs like $20. So, yeah, that's a steal. You know, if you're a beginner, go on Casmart, connect your wallet, go on your computer, connect the wallet, add some Caspa, and pay in Caspa $60 for a KS0 Ultra. That's your best way to get started right now. Just a reminder, if anyone wants to chat in the space, feel free to come up. Can I run my own node? How would that benefit me and the community? Is it hard to run a node? No, it is not hard to run a node. Doesn't really require much crazy hardware. I have videos. Just go to my YouTube channel. Just look up like running Caspa node, and I guide you entirely through how to do it. It benefits the community. It benefits you and the community. In the sense, I have a video that actually talks about why to run a Caspa node, but you can go public, which allows the network to be more decentralized. But not only that, when you just run a node, even privately, you enforce the rules of the network. You're still part of consensus, especially if you're mining. Then you can connect your miner to your own node and be just fully self-sovereign. But when you do go public, you can even connect your wallets to your own node, and that way you're not reliant on a third party to be able to get your transactions to go through on the network. So running your own node is just beneficial in terms of decentralization and your self-sovereignty. Hey Silver, imagine if everyone in Casper ran their own node and how important it is to the ecosystem. Yeah, I I think running a Casper node is very important. I think it's really good to do it if you can do it, but at the end of the day, I think it's more important that you at least know how to do it. Because at the current moment, Caspa has a great consensus, and if you don't want to be public right now, but you just want to run privately, I think that's good for you to do. But I think it's just good to know how to go public if you need to, and in the event that we actually need to defend some kind of change to Caspa that's trying to be committed, there's a way to defend that, and so it's really good to at least do it once, know how to do it. Um, Personally, myself, I like to run it all the time though. May I ask what's your opinion on H bar? I'm kind of conflicted into investing in it since it has a governing council. Well, that alone, if you're conflicted on that, I would say to follow your confliction there because, yeah, my opinion on H bar is I will avoid it entirely. I will never invest in it, just simply because I'm a proof of work maximalist, so I believe in proof of work only, and then on top of that, I believe in networks being as decentralized as possible, fair launch, no companies behind it, a governing council definitely sounds like it's centrally controlled and stuff like that. So, can you make money with HBAR? Yeah, probably. But at least for me, when it comes to crypto and investing in it, I do like to stick with my morals on where I'm putting my money and where I feel like it will be best to park it long term. The thing I like about the block DAG is one, no orphan blocks, and two, it gives extremely fast confirmation times, and within 5 seconds, the transaction is far more secure than 6 Bitcoin confirmation. Yes, um, because it has so many layers deep buried in confirmations. Yeah, I mean that's just the amazing thing about Caspa. It's literally the next innovation for proof of work. It's um, the best you're gonna get in terms of proof of work nowadays. How do you know you won't get scammed on that site? I'm thinking you're talking about Castmart. So I used it already. Um, uh, so essentially, what happens is it's still centrally controlled in that the person who's running the site, your funds get like locked, and then it gets dispersed once you can prove that you sent the item. There's been a good bit of people who have already used the site, got their items, and got their money. I currently just sold something on there, and I'm currently waiting for it to ship, so then I can get my money as well. But the goal for the site is to eventually become trustless. But at the current current moment, there is that factor of it that it is centralized in the fact that when you spend Caspa on there, your funds get held and get dispersed centrally. Sir, do you think mining will become highly profitable again this year? Possibly. Love you, bro. Onion here. 100% Caspa only. Only. What's up, Caspa Onion? Nice to see you in the stream. Caspa's down 85%, pullback from its all-time high. Not bad. 85%, it definitely can be worse. I'll say that for sure. XRP is probably the worst cryptocurrency, but yet has one of the highest market caps. So the market cap of crypto is not merit based. Yes, it's not merit based, but then the one thing you do have to worry about with XRP, especially, is just the fact that is it sustainable? I think no. The company Ripple, which holds the like 47% of the XRP, they have to sell XRP so that the Ripple company can actually make a profit. So, I don't think that's sustainable forever. And I think more and more people will continue to wake up to XRP over time. When will the Covenant's hard fork happen? Will that be useful for KII's project? So the Covenant's hard fork is supposed to be happening, I would say, within the next like 4 to 6 months. Um, and will it be used for KII's projects? Yes, it would be useful for them. When do you think the Caspa fee markets needs VProgs by? Um, that question's kind of hard because that's just based on the assumption that VProgs is going to actually help the fee market of Caspa, which we don't know. We don't know if VProgs, when it gets built, it's going to actually help the fee market for Caspa. So it's not necessarily when do we think. I think it's obviously great to have every single thing that is planned for Caspa to come as soon as possible, so that we have as many different types of ways to use Caspa as possible to encourage the use of Caspa and hopefully bring in a fee market. But we simply don't know if these items will bring in a fee market. So that's why, at least for me, I'm heavily focused on trying to advocate for things that exist right now, like Cassia, K-Social, Casmart, Vivor, platforms that exist right now. Advocate for those platforms right now to use them, to keep encouraging people to just start bringing in demand. If people start learning about these platforms, they get interested, they want to use these platforms, then they're going to be incentivized to buy more Caspa. If they share it with their friends are going to see that there is demand for Caspa because they want to use these platforms or whatever. So there you have it. But it's cool because Caspa allows so much scalability, allows for so many different applications. So when you're buying Caspa, it's like you're buying a piece of a share of not necessarily a company, but of these applications that are going to potentially bring in a lot of demand. My issue with XRP is not the distribution of coins, it's their garbage consensus mechanism, which is proof of authority, and they have a dumb thing of appointing validators. Yeah. Um, I my thing with XRP is like I don't even need to go to the technology. The technology is bad, but I don't even need to go there. To me, it's just the foundational fundamental of XRP. It's a company that their primary goal is to try and get people to adopt central bank digital currencies, which is the antithesis of cryptocurrency. And then on top of that, they hoarded like 80% of the supply, and then they can only be profitable. Ripple can only be profitable as a company if they dump their XRP. So that is what XRP is. And then everything else that's being talked about, banks are going to adopt it, all this kind of whatever stuff, is just silly, completely silly in my opinion. Do you really think China, for example, is going to use XRP and enrich an American company? Like, think about that. They're talking about XRP being used globally, but if it gets used globally, it enriches an American company. So it just, I think other countries are smarter than that. They're not going to use XRP. If they're going to use anything too, it won't even be Caspa. I don't even think it's going to be Caspa itself. If anything, they're going to use a stable coin. They're going to use something backed by the dollar, pegged to the dollar, because it's not even really backed by it. It's just you're trusting. But if they're going to use something, it's going to be a stable coin. So then so then it comes, the question is, okay, what network are they going to use that stablecoin on? And so I think the most logical thing that's going to happen is they're going to use the Caspa network for that stablecoin. Yes, we don't have stablecoins yet, but once all that gets implemented, it's a no-brainer for users to be using a stablecoin that's built on a network that is as decentralized, that you're not enriching an American company like with XRP. If you're using a stablecoin on the Caspa network, you know that the Caspa network, that foundational layer you're using, is at least a neutral layer that's not enriching an American company, and you're not going to be censored either. You can't be censored on that base layer, at least. You know, if you're using a stablecoin, of course you can be censored. But I that's how I think the future is going. I think is stablecoins, and so the biggest market that Caspa needs to tap into too is that stablecoin market, and be the network that we use for stablecoins. It should be the Caspa network, and I personally use stablecoins right now. Like, I have to use stablecoins. I'm stuck using Polygon network, you know, for those cheap fees or whatever. But 100%, if that existed on Caspa, I'll be using the Caspa network instead, because I don't care about these other networks that are centrally controlled, and they don't even have fundamentals where people actually desire the base layer. The desire for Polygon, example, like for that base layer coin, Polygon, which is not even, I think it's a layer 2 on ETH, but people just use Polygon as the fee, to pay the fee, which is extremely cheap already. But so it's not really like, no one's looking at Polygon as a way to like save and view it as a money, view it as something to fight the dollar or something like that. Like, no one's viewing Polygon like that. They view it as a utility coin for stablecoins. So I think Caspa has a way better bet long term, because, you know, Caspa could be a utility coin for stablecoins, but then Caspa itself can be a savings tool, because people actually view it as money. We view it as money, and that gives it value. It gives these Bedrock holders who stick around no matter what, gives Caspa the value. I mean, we look at Caspa right now, we got over 70% of the supply not moved in 3+ months. Why is that? Well, because people who are remaining are the people who actually believe in Caspa being a monetary network and that they can save in. So you got so many reasons for people to hoard, for why people would want to hoard Caspa. I have a miner now. Can I expect good returns for 2027, or it's likely that it will do very little profits? Yeah, right now miners are not going to do much profits. It depends on your electricity as well. But you know, for me personally, I still mine, but I take the loss, because the loss it's really not that bad for me. So I'm able to bear the loss and just keep the Caspa, because it's a risk, but I believe that in the long run, that Caspa is going to outweigh all of my losses that I've been accruing every single month here mining. Has KI delivered any viable product yet? How confident are you in them delivering what they promise? Bringing renewable energy market on Caspa is a big claim. Yeah, right now KI also is something kind of up in the air. The most recent thing that they kind of like delivered, quote unquote, is you can now use Warp Core in like a testing environment for banks. But I have no information on how that is going, if whether or not people are using it. So, you know, definitely you still want to take these things as a grain of salt, but KII is still sticking around, and there's pretty big names behind KII. So, you know, hopefully they're not bluffing. I don't see why they would, especially with the names that are behind them and what they're kind of behind over there and what they're doing. So, but you know, it's still yet to be seen for sure. Thanks for all you do for the community, bro. Thank you guys for all the support you guys give me. I enjoy being here. I don't understand why XRP gets so much hate when it was deliberately held back by the higher ups. Well, because XRP is the antithesis of cryptocurrency. It's the complete opposite of why someone should even be in this space. It's not decentralized. It's not desiring to be a threat to the dollar. It's in fact desiring to aid the dollar and to continue the infinite money printer, you're supporting central bank digital currencies when you're buying XRP. That's what you're doing. You're supporting your future prison that they want us to be in. And I guess that's just very like libertarian view of me, but I think that's just the truth of what XRP is. It's just the complete opposite of this industry. So that's the main reason why it gets a lot of hate. Um, so I think if you want to buy something centralized at XRP, go to the stock market. Go buy. You could buy Ripple. You could buy the company itself. I think you could pretty much buy Ripple on the private market. I think you can go buy them. So go buy a centralized stock if you want to buy something in crypto world that's centralized. Just go to the stock market instead. Will Rajat declare bankruptcy and convert to Caspa when Bitcoin goes to zero? uh, Rajat, man, Rajat. We're gonna have to have another debate again soon. I hope. I don't know. It's funny. Like I offered him some Caspa, and he was like, "Nah, I don't want that." But it was very interesting to hear his response when he had to go to like another live stream right after, and he literally like talked to the guys, and they were like, "Oh, you had a debate about Caspa, right?" And he's like, "Yeah," and then they asked him how it went, and his tone was it was oddly like it was almost like in the back of his mind he was just like, "Man, there's really nothing I can really be mad about Caspa. Like it's legitimate coin. It's just not Bitcoin, and I just don't like it because it's not Bitcoin." That's what his brain was probably saying. But then like in the actual, he was just like, "Oh, I was surprised that he knew more about money than I was ready for." But then he just says, I think Caspa has a use case, and they were like, "What?" He was like, "Yeah, I think Caspa has a use case, but it's not money." I was like, "What?" Like, and it's funny because in the debate, he literally was trying to tell me it's not money, it's not money, and I'm like, "Rajat, I literally paid my barber the other day in Caspa. I used it as money. So why are you telling me it's not money?" And he's just like, "It's just not money." And then in that live stream, he literally said that I think the use case it's gonna have is for text messaging, but it's just not money. I was like, "Oh my goodness." Oh man. It's okay though. It is what it is. It was a fun debate. The comments in that debate is hilarious to read though. Though that's hilarious to read, and I bet you like they're all in there like, "Oh wow, after this video, Caspa was down, yada yada yada. Now Bitcoin's down." And a lot of these guys are like a lot more quiet now because Bitcoin is down now too. So it's just like it is what it is. Hey Paul, I see that you came up to speak. If you want to say something, you can now. You're probably waiting for me to stop rambling here. It's nice. I got someone watching on Vivor. That's really cool. I think someone even donated on Vivor. Always cool. It's nice. I got someone watching on Vivor. Someone commented. Oh yeah, so yeah, on Vivor, if you um chat in the room there, it's on Cassia. Ah, that's really cool. I didn't know that. Oh, that's weird. I don't want to pay that. I'll lose my Caspa. Must be some kind of bug there. Anyways, head back to Don't get me wrong, I love both Caspa and XRP. Yeah, and I mean that's fine. Like I'm not like I don't hate you if you like XRP, like that's cool. Like can you make money with it? Yeah, probably because the market obviously doesn't isn't really based on merit at the end of the day. It's just based on uh number go up, can you make money with it? If people enough people believe that, and that's what's going to happen, you know, but I just find it personally for me very hard to be advocating for cryptocurrency and then you're just making videos about XRP because if you actually believe in this space and like what it can bring to humanity, I think XRP is doing the opposite of that. But Caspa is competing with Ethereum, and that's not an easy task, to be honest. No, it's not. But I think the recent things we saw with Vitalik talking about basically what Jonathan already knew is that layer twos is an issue for Ethereum. Vitalik is waking up to the fact that he needs to do something about that base layer, try to scale it. And Caspa is basically ahead of the game now when it comes to that. I hate stablecoin. People should just use Monero, Caspa, or Goldbacks instead of rubbish fiat money. Yeah, I mean, I hate the dollar as much as anyone else, but when we come back to like reality of it, like we gotta pay our bills in dollars over here. Unfortunately, it's just how things are. So you gotta build onboarding incentives to these networks to then eventually get people to start ditching accepting only dollars and eventually start accepting things like Caspa. Yet the Casper project said it's meant to be used as a currency. Yeah. I mean, that's why Caspa means money in Aramaic because it is supposed to be used as money. Either as money and it could be used as many other things too because it goes beyond just the monetary aspect of it because of how scalable it is. And Quant, is it real or a fake network? Quant is kind of similar to XRP. The same goals are related to central bank digital currencies. So if you're in the market of hoping central bank digital currencies are a success, then maybe Quant can be a success as well. But from my understanding, Quant uh, Quant has centralized foundation behind it and stuff like that. So I would never recommend personally. It's silver in Aramaic. Yes, Kaspa means money or silver in Aramaic. Pretty much either one. But personally, I'm known as Kaspa Silver, but personally I try my best to not focus too hard on the silver narrative as much anymore, just because of the fact that I think people miss the point. Um, the silver narrative is supposed to just be something in relation to Bitcoin. When you're looking at Bitcoin, they say it's digital gold, Caspa's digital silver, and based on that, in the past, silver was used more than gold. And so the idea is that Caspa is going to be used more than Bitcoin, but that's it. But then people, take it a further step. So, if you want to be silver, then that means, you're always going to be behind Bitcoin in terms of market cap and this, and that. And it's like, no, it's not. It's not that deep. Don't think about it that deep because at the end of the day, these are technologies. They are not precious metals. So at the end of the day, digital gold, digital silver, I think are horrible narratives. They kind of just reduce the potential of this industry to these very, very strict ideas. I think they're just very limiting. So I don't harp on the narrative too much. I try to explain it the best I can so that people understand it.
You know, silver is the best electrical conducting metal.
Yes. Yep. And silver does have like a lot of use cases in the world and in the real world, and that's why people still buy silver, because they think it's going to be great for batteries or whatever, for electric cars and stuff like that. So um, the main thing to realize is that it's not a zero sum game. That's, I think, the main thing that people need to realize. It is not a zero sum game. I think gold and silver is currently showing us that too, that it's just not a zero sum game. At the end of the day, Bitcoin is still trying to catch up to gold. It still hasn't even caught up to gold when you really think about it. Gold is like what, 30 trillion market cap now. So it still hasn't caught up to gold. Still trying to, but it's not zero sum. I think each of the assets are going to have their place. Each of the assets are going to have their times when they're more profitable to be holding on to. But when it comes to like all of crypto, I don't think a lot of it is going to be here 10 years from now. Main reason why I think Caspa is probably going to be here 10 years from now is because it's built on a foundation that's not sand. Proof of work is a very, very strong foundation to be built on. That's why we still see things like Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Monero. These things are proof of work. Even Dogecoin, those are proof of work networks, and they're still sticking around. And it's largely because their foundation is proof of work. Even Ethereum Classic. So it's just crazy, but Ethereum Classic is still a thing. I currently allocate a little bit to gold and silver in my gold and silver in my Roth IRA. I want to eventually get some physical as well at some point, but at least I think in my Roth IRA for portfolio wise, been making a good position for longer term. How long have we been going on?
Hey, I'm just joining now. What's the topic right now other than Caspa in general?
No specific topic. It's just been me rambling, Caspa and general stuff, answering questions in the comments. So you could say whatever you want.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm just curious to hear what people's thoughts are on in terms of are we witnessing the reversal in the market or is there further downside?
You asked like the current market, if you think it's gonna keep going lower in general.
Yeah, I've just heard like very differing opinions, I guess, in general in crypto, around the market. If what we're seeing right now is a reversal back up to bull run, or if yeah, Bitcoin is falling down all the way to the actualized price, and therefore the market is also staying in this bear.
Yeah. Currently right now, I mean, we've seen multiple red month candles for Bitcoin. Um, so typically Bitcoin doesn't see a lot of those. Can it go lower? Most definitely, it can always go lower. But I think things are changing. It's not exactly the same. It may not. I mean, for it to be the same would mean that we topped out last year and we're now just going to be in a bear market for the next 2 years or something like that, because according to like the 4-year cycle, the last top for Bitcoin 4 years ago was 2021 quarter four, and then basically 4 years later, 2025 quarter four, we had another top for Bitcoin. So is the 4-year cycle still playing out? Maybe, but if the way for it to defy all odds is if Bitcoin makes another all-time high. So um the interesting thing is that Bitcoin has dropped a ton. Like it's literally is in terms of like RSI, 200-day moving average, stuff like that, 200-week moving average, stuff like that. It's dropped significantly, um, almost as if we're in some kind of like crazy depths of the bear market kind of thing. I mean, we're extreme fear levels and stuff like that. So, um, you know,
Yeah.
it can go either way. A lot of people are trying to attribute it to like, oh, this Epstein stuff, and then like the recent bill that got like rejected, and they're trying to figure out what is the FUD for it. But um, it could be that Bitcoin just topped out. I see Archie came out here. I know Archie looks at the markets a whole lot more. You can say your piece.
Yeah, man, good to be on. We haven't spoken a while. I just want to say congrats on the daughter. I know it was a long time ago.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Um, but yeah, happy to hear about that. But yeah, in terms of the market, um, I am quite confident that we're either kind of at a low or quite near to a low. Could we go a bit lower? Absolutely. But I think maybe 80 to 90% of the selling pressure is probably done now. You mentioned the 200-week moving average. That's the perfect kind of indicator to look at on a macro lens for Bitcoin. And the RSI as well. You mentioned that as well on the weekly, I think is maybe the most oversold we've been, at least in multiple cycles. So all of those things, putting them together for me, kind of signify that, like I said, we're either at or very close to a bottom. And looking at Casper in particular, it's been respecting a major support trend line for well over a year as well. And it's been respecting a resistance line as well. It's kind of in this massive wedge. And Caspa is one of those coins. It's actually been in the bear market longer than a lot of cryptos,
Mm-hmm.
which makes me think that it may be potentially one of the ones that may rally up first. And, we've witnessed that in the past as kind of like a bear market coin.
Yeah.
People said last bull run that it was the one coin to be in during the bear market, and we'll see if that plays out. But to me, it's looking quite positive here. I was actually in Casper for a while, as you probably know, and then I did sell basically my whole crypto portfolio once Bitcoin lost the 50-week moving average, and that's nothing against Casper. That's just because I'm more of a macro trader, I'd say, than just a diamond hands guy. I respect the diamond hands people here, but I sold my whole portfolio, and I've just got back in. The last 48 hours, I've just got back in, and Casper's actually one of my heaviest positions. So it's looking bright to me. Could we see a little bit more downside? Absolutely, but I don't think much more is to come.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
me, oh, sorry. I was just going to say, for me, I'm taking a lot of notes and bookmarking some of the things that people on X are talking about, because there's so many predictions. And it's going to be interesting to see who was right, because from what I've been seeing in general, it's either this thought around that there's manipulation happening, and this is kind of tied with what you were saying, Victor, around Epstein and other Iran and Venezuela and all these events started like pulling down the markets in general. And now we're seeing a reversal. Or is it more to the fact of people still in profit on Bitcoin and still taking profits until we get at or below the actual price, actual realized price?
Yeah, yeah. And the thing is, like, even like every single time there was a bear market, usually some like crazy FUD drops. Like the last bear market was like FTX collapsing. But this time around, it's really nothing like there's really nothing crazy going on in terms of like crypto world. I mean, people say the Epstein stuff. I think it's just for me, since I've researched Bitcoin and all this kind of stuff a lot harder. It's like that stuff is just nonsense to me. But I guess for normal retail people, especially that are not really informed, they're just like, what? Like Bitcoin could be made by Epstein? Like I even got a few text messages from people like saying like, oh, they're saying Epstein's Satoshi, and I'm like, are you serious right now? Like really? But that's, I guess that FUD could have a part in it. But at the end of the day, I think it's mainly manipulative, and they're, you know, the whales are gonna do what they're gonna do. They're gonna get in cheaper because they want to get in cheaper. I think the best bet is making sure you're picking things that appear to be blue chips, that are going to be able to stick around. Um, and I've always been a huge advocate for the fact that Caspa may be the outlier again because it did it once. Who's to say it won't happen again? And one of the biggest things for Caspa to do in terms of like price wise is to make a new all time high against Bitcoin. If it does that, that will be insane for its adoption, at least, because at that point Bitcoiners will have to acknowledge it, because that's one of their biggest arguments, is the fact that every single thing that's come out, after Bitcoin makes one pump, which they always like. Caspa made multiple pumps against Bitcoin, but you know they always say eventually there's one pump and then it never makes an all-time high again. But you know, I'm in Caspa because I firmly believe that Caspa can make an all-time high against Bitcoin again. And I think looking at that chart specifically, the Bitcoin, versus Caspa chart is going to be something, really important to look at. And hopefully it does do its thing, there, and outperform Bitcoin.
Do you continue to allocate to Bitcoin as well, or are you all in on Caspa now?
So recently, I've been going, a whole lot more harder on Caspa. Like I'm literally like 99% Caspa, very little in Bitcoin. But when I do get my strategy right now, kind of is like when I get cash to invest, is mainly going maybe, 90-10 or 80-20 Caspa Bitcoin. So Bitcoin definitely whole lot less. Um, just because I think at these prices for Caspa, the risk to reward is a whole lot better in my opinion. Especially we're talking this coin being under a billion market cap. That's that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel as well. I mean, I'm holding on to long-term holdings from Bitcoin, um, because I've been in Bitcoin for a while until I found out about Caspa a few years ago. Um, but yeah, still buying a little bit once Bitcoin hits, the absolute the bottom for the local bottom.
Hmm. Yeah, something with Caspa that always like was fascinating to me when I was looking at it though was the fact that, um when I first found Caspa, I always like to look at the RSI and on the weekly RSI. And when I first got Caspa, it was always oversold. Like it was just on the weekly, the RSI for Caspa has always been at the highest 70s, 60s for so long. Um, and my mindset is always like typically every asset corrects and goes to a 30 or lower oversold levels on the RSI on the weekly. And it's just interesting to see that, you know, it eventually happened for Caspa, that it's hit the 30 area pretty much, signifying that it's oversold on the weekly finally for Caspa. And it's just interesting how those things play out. But at the same time, you know, RSI shouldn't be your only thing to look at if you are someone who tries to time it. Because personally, for me, I don't necessarily want to time. I just try my best to not go as heavy if it's clear that, like, if we're in greed areas, I definitely want to go whole lot less heavier, because, if we're in greed territory, it's definitely probably going to have a pullback soon. But still with that RSI, um, Caspa proved that even though it was oversold or overbought for a while, it still continuously made all-time highs. So it's not always your only sign to tell you what to do.
You know, something I saw with Casper as well is the fact that it's been kind of in a bear market now a lot longer than other coins, but the percentage that it's down,
It's not
it's not actually that bad. Like
exactly.
Solana's down 71%, and it only just put in its new high not that long ago compared to Casper, and that's a blue chip top 5 coin, and I can imagine there's many coins around the same market cap as Casper down 90%,
Hmm.
95%, and they just put in new highs in October. So when you put it all together, it's held up pretty well.
Yes.
in comparison.
Yeah, I've always noticed that too. Like it just to me it operates more as a blue chip because Caspa can lose, okay, it could drop 80%, but it takes a year to even get there. Like it's not like it's these other coins if they drop 80-90%, they do that in 2 months. Like they do it quick. It's like
That's what Sol and XRP has just done, like in
yeah.
the last few weeks.
They do it
Caspa's not even
quick.
really gone down.
Caspa, on the other hand, it's not like, oh, it just pumps dumps. No, no, it's like a gradual bear market, and it's gonna just slowly get to 80% levels. And I told people a year ago, when people were hoping for more all-time highs, we're still chilling at 17 cents, whatever. I told people I was like, just a reminder, 2 cents is totally on the cards again for Caspa because that's a 90% drop. Almost all cryptos experienced that at least one time, and here we are. We got to the 2 cent area again, and in hindsight, oh yeah, why didn't you sell? Whatever, that's just me. I rather just prepare myself for that reality, and then at the end of the day, I'm still here long term. I don't need this money now, so that's how I play it. I play it just diamond handing it pretty much, DCAing and just looking at the long term fundamentals, uh, and I can help people like Archie sell when he needs to sell because I'm the one buying his bag, and then when he wants to come back in, he's ready.
I saw that comment, man. That was a good comment.
Yeah,
But yeah, the market needs all forms of participants. That's what that's how it runs.
exactly.
And I've got a lot of respect for people who just believe in Casper and hold it regardless, and buy every dip. I'm also in Dubai, so I pay zero tax,
Exactly. Yeah,
which
that's
is,
another
I
factor
guess,
too.
something to mention, right? Like I can kind of play this
Hop in and out.
sell at the high. Exactly. And I'm not selling in and out every day. It's more just kind of in line with the broader Bitcoin cycle and things like that. And I do believe, like I said earlier, we are at a point here where things are very, very cheap. I mean, I judge Bitcoin's value based off its major moving averages. And when we are kind of by the 200 week, I qualify that as in the very cheap category. It kind of does it once every 4 years or so. Um, and that's kind of where I would say, yeah, Bitcoin is now definitively very cheap.
Hmm.
It's been expensive for the vast majority of 2025,
Yep.
even though people thought 100K was cheap. In my view, it wasn't based off the moving average. So, yeah, I think we're at a point now where Bitcoin is back in the cheap category, and it hasn't been for a long time. And that means that a lot of these kind of higher quality cryptos, Casper being in that bracket, I think they're also probably finding a bottom here.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Do you agree that the risk to reward on Caspa is just much better than Bitcoin, and therefore one should allocate much more on the Caspa side?
I don't know if that's directed at me or Victor, but I'll just give my take very quick, and then I got to go because it is 3 a.m. here in Dubai. But I think that there's great risk reward with Casper. But I guess it all depends on the individual, right? Like, and how much money you're kind of throwing at the market too. And maybe Victor will disagree with me on this, but if I had $10 million, I wouldn't exactly put all of it in on Casper. But if I had $100,000, then I put the vast majority in on Casper, right? So I know that's maybe not the answer people are looking for, but I do think it kind of depends how much you've got as well, because you can be a lot lower risk when you've got more money. But yeah, that's just kind of my summary. But I'll let you guys go. I do appreciate you bringing me on.
yeah, thanks for coming on, man. Pleasure. But yeah, no, I agree. It depends on many factors. Depends your age. It depends how much money we're talking here. Because a lot of times the biggest problem in the crypto world is people sometimes not realizing that they don't have like an investment problem or strategy problem. It's an income problem, and you're looking for 100x's and then you're getting burned, and it's you're better off increasing your active income than trying to keep throwing at every little project under the sun. find quality projects and keep working towards increasing your income so that you can just keep dollar cost averaging into quality projects. Definitely, for my opinion, quality projects, in my opinion, in the crypto space is just Bitcoin and Caspa. But then, of course, heavily for me, I'm heavily way more in Caspa, just because I think for my personal risk tolerance, it's a bet that I'm willing to take. But definitely, do your own research and don't just blindly follow. Make sure that you have your own convictions and they're not just someone else's convictions.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I agree with what Archie was saying. It's a big difference if you're a fund, like a crypto fund, or heightened net worth with 100 million. You have to be more wealth preservation, and the risk to reward profile is very different than somebody, who's working 9 to 5. So I definitely agree there, and yes, I think a lot of us have been burned in this cycle, especially with meme coins. I personally had some wins, but then also some losses because I didn't expect the market to have such a downturn at this point. I really was expecting like the double top or the super cycle, as a lot of people were talking about. But I think with meme coins, they're fun to play with, but it's sort of, in my opinion, it seems like you need to get in and get out as soon as possible. Like once you've reached a certain multiple, otherwise it's just too high of a risk that it dumps.
Yeah. Personally, for me, I don't ever advocate for meme coins at all. Played that game in the past, and I just, it's not worth it. I mean, for me, especially having a family now and everything, work, and it's like too much mental strain. I rather find quality things, park my wealth, and then just keep analyzing where I'm parking my wealth that I know are long-term plays and not just short-term plays.
Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to say also that, I've been in crypto for several years, and I've seen a lot of things come and go, like Cadena, for example, and it was like really hyped up to be the blockchain of the finance industry, traditional finance industry, etc. But there's only been a few projects that you read about, you see the fundamentals, and it just makes a lot of sense. You look at some of the technical analysis, it makes a lot of sense. But there's only like and I don't know if this makes sense to you. I would love to hear your opinion. But there's just a few projects that you just feel like you can't put your finger on it. It's not anything that's data related. Like you've already checked those boxes, but you meet with the community or you see what people are developing on, and just the energy. I've only felt that before when I met with Bitcoiners back in the day, then Ethereum back in the day, and now with Caspa. So it's only happened for me personally like 3 times where I felt that kind of vibe, that kind of energy.
Yeah. I think what Caspa has here is truly, truly unique, especially for me. I've been in the space since like 2019, 2020, and especially almost becoming a Bitcoin maxi and finding Caspa on that journey. Like it was just a no-brainer to me. If it just feels being ignorant to just completely ignore Caspa and just be like, well, it's not Bitcoin, and stick with that same kind of mentality. When we're looking at Bitcoin and what it offers us today, it's not built right now to actually offer what a lot of people wanted it to offer them in the very early days. Caspa is, I think, where the cypherpunks are actually really hanging out nowadays. And anyone who's a cypherpunk in Bitcoin is probably they just need to hear about Caspa and study it and give it a fair look to be convinced. But Caspa will convince people as time goes. The longer it sticks around, the longer you can't ignore it because it just keeps sticking around.
What doesn't make sense to me though, and maybe we'll find out in the future, but for a project that has so much community behind it, and you just see like systematically that it has the most bullish sentiment. Hobson? Do you mind putting yourself on mute? That it has like the most bullish sentiment. And if you ever look at any post from crypto.com, Coinbase, Robinhood, mostly crypto.com, let's say, it's always Caspa community that's upvoting
Mm-hmm.
at, getting the highest ranking on when they ask the questions around like which project has the best community, which project has the best potential, which project do you see doing this green god candle in the future. And it's like that my question is, that is what I don't understand, is how a project can have so much demand and yet there's like no listings yet on those exchanges.
Well, number one reason is because there's no free lunch for Caspa, so they want to ignore it as much as they can, hopefully catch a very nice bottom, and then list when it's the most profitable to do so. That's pretty much how they operate, I believe, for the most part.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see this entity X and who has been loading up all
Yeah.
the gas.
Yeah, they're at a point now that's like, wow, like that. I mean, let me see right now. I could check it out. Entity X. This address now holds 1.3 billion Caspa, which is almost 5% of the supply. So, it's just like, who is this guy? To me, it has to be either an exchange. I think it can. I think I think it is an exchange. I don't really think it can be anything else, to be honest. I don't think it's gonna be some individual unless it's like Michael Saylor and he's just like, hey, what's up, guys? But nah. I think it's gonna be an exchange. Which one? I would probably put my guesses on either OKX or maybe Binance. But to me, it's like OKX. OKX has been involved with Caspa since the beginning, and they don't list Caspa. It's so weird. So I feel like they might have been like just behind the scenes, just really trying to get a great supply. Because I guess they feel that the demand is going to be there. So if it is an exchange and they're buying this much, I guess this just shows that they're expecting demand to be high. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I agree. An exchange or a market maker. And I wouldn't be surprised if it was like a Binance or another. I mean, because now you have a lot of the Asian exchanges, KuCoin and HTX, Huobi. So, I mean, there's got to be like demand from their users as well.
Yep.
But it would be great to see Coinbase or Crypto.com. I mean, I've been buying from Kraken.
Yeah, Kraken's been good. I recently just been doing change now swap for DCAing. So I buy USDC stablecoin on Robinhood, and then I just swap over for Caspa. I just kind of like that because it kind of adds a little bit extra layer of privacy, since change now doesn't require any of my like information to be put on there. So it's like an extra layer of privacy there. I mean, Robinhood knows at least that I'm buying stable coins, but once I send it to change now, Robinhood doesn't know what coin I'm getting. So I like that aspect of it. The fees aren't too bad either.
Yeah, that makes sense. My thing was that going from USDT to swapping on Change Now, like maybe I'm missing something, but it just seems like there's extra overhead in tracking and accounting, whereas on Kraken, it's already prepared for you.
Yeah. For me, personally, for like accounting everything I do, I just use CoinMarketCap, and just put in all of my buys on CoinMarketCap, and just kind of like track it that way. Because essentially, like when you're, from my understanding, if you're doing taxes, obviously I'm not a tax advisor, but in America at least. Like if you were to take a profit, you just need to write down the profits and everything. You don't need to go and look through and prove like every purchase and everything unless you got audited. So if you do a good job just like tracking the buys and the sells, and then you put in a profit there, you know, the chances of you getting audited are going to be low.
Yeah. How low do you think that Caspa can go at this local bottom? I mean, are we talking 3 cents, 2 cents, 1 cent? Nobody knows, but I'm just curious.
For me, at this point, it's just gotten so like when I see Caspa under a billion market cap, to me it just feels very unlikely to see it keep dropping. Again, it will, if it drops, it's only because Bitcoin drops. I don't think it's just gonna do it on its own. And it's been the case like that for a while now. Caspa is not dropping on its own. It drops when Bitcoin drops. So um it's, I think right now it's just dependent on how Bitcoin's gonna flow. But again, there is that aspect of potentiality where, you know, Caspa just becomes an outlier, and starts to just defy what people expect. I mean, especially it being at this market cap now, it's kind of similar back to how it was now back in 2023 when I first found it, when it was an outlier. It was this super low market cap, and everyone who was getting in are people who believe in it. Like if you're, to me, it's like if you're buying, if you haven't sold yet, I don't see why you'd be selling now. And then if you're buying now, you're not here to do a trade. You know, you're buying Caspa for a long-term play now. So to me, I don't see it dropping too much anymore unless, you know, Bitcoin just flops completely.
Yeah, I agree, because some of the bigger whale shark accounts have already, the ones that exited already exited a while ago. So I wouldn't predict that they would be selling at this low. So I don't think that's, and there's no VCs attached to Caspa, so it's we don't really have like a low risk of that happening in comparison with other projects. Yeah, where the VCs might just pull at this level.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, like this is the first time for me I'm negative in my portfolio holding Caspa since, you know, early 2023. So it's been a while since I've been in the negative, but I'm now in the negative again. So it's like for me, I'm like I've been here before, and I feel like it won't go the same as low, because when I first got in and it did the 4 cent all time high for the first time, it dropped all the way down to a penny, like penny flat pretty much. This time, you know, it's dropped below the 4 cents. It's got to the under 3 now, and all I'm seeing is everyone wanting a penny. Everyone's like begging for it, and when I start to see that, you know, typically it's like the market doesn't give you that. Everyone right now is expecting a penny or under a penny.
Yeah, I mean, I think people have their limit orders
Yeah,
ready,
we
just
may
in
have a
case.
flash crash to under a penny, but it'll
Right.
recover. You know, do another recover thing again, like but that's just straight manipulation. Like that's not even like real at that point. It's just like, okay, we're just fighting, you know, the crypto manipulation that happens.
Yeah, but in those cases, I mean, I wasn't able to get my orders filled. Oh, actually, I think I got one filled, but it was already, well, it was coming back up. So it
I
was
had a
really hard.
dude in my Discord, like he just had a random order at like, I think it was like 2.5 cents or a penny or something like that. And when that flash crash happened back in October, like he was able to get like 1 million Caspa, and he was just like, he's like, dude, I was literally about to end this order that I had down there just in case for these kind of crashes, and I didn't end it yet, and I happened to catch it. So it's crazy.
Wow, that's yeah, that's really crazy. I mean, I was buying the dips down to this level, and now I've kind of just like held off to see held off the dry powder that I have to see how far it will go. But yeah, I mean, this cycle has been kind of difficult, and previous cycles, because I think a lot of people, including myself, was expecting a certain pattern to play out, and then it was just like, oh no,
It's done.
it's just,
We're done here.
yeah,
Yeah, everyone was, there was really no altcoin cycle. Like, what there was just random coins here and there that did their runs pretty much. And I think it's gonna continuously be like that as crypto becomes more of like a mainstream industry. Um, it's not gonna be the same. I don't, it's gonna be fighting for real utility, real fundamentals. I think that's gonna become more and more popular and normal, and everything else is gonna pretty much just start to dwindle away.
yeah. I actually met Jonathan, and that's one thing that when we were talking, that really stood out to me, which was him basically saying, this is a different crypto world now. Like you really have to have like the technological infrastructure, and be building like
Mm-hmm.
real use case. It's just like speculation is not enough anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. If you're gonna speculate on something, and that something needs to have things going on, use cases, um, reasons for why someone would even want to buy Caspa in the first place. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm just heavily, always pushing these use cases for Caspa to get people really on board on showing people, hey, like you can literally use Caspa already in your daily life, and then just spread the word. Peer-to-peer marketing is always the best. In person, just sharing with people and then just teaching them how they can automatically start using it once they get Caspa, which is what I love about these applications now. Is like when I onboard people to Caspa, it's like it's no longer just send them a little bit of Caspa and then all right. No, it's like, hey, download this app. All right, now you can do this. Hey, if you want to text me, you can text me through here now, and it's all on Caspa. So it's really cool where Caspa's kind of heading now.
I agree, but I do think it's really early because there still has not been the killer use case yet.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think there are a lot of really cool things that are being developed and being tested, just like just like how when the internet came out, or mobile phones, or um, Ethereum with smart contracts. But in the beginning, it's just sort of testing things out, some
Yeah,
things that have already been.
it's tough because still with these applications, nothing has come out that can actually be massively adopted. Um, we're still in the building phases. So, um, once the building phases is kind of like we're getting to polished and complete stages for some of these applications, then it will be much easier to market these things too. Because when you're marketing these things, it's still like the user experience is not going to be there, where the user is going to feel like I can hop on this every day and feel like I'm hopping on anything else that I like to hop on.
Right. I mean, that's kind of like the last layer, is like the UI UX layer for the masses, because in every iteration, um, there's always been, like, even Bitcoin, like there wasn't Coinbase or something that was a nice, easy app that you could just,
Mm-hmm.
swipe and buy big. I mean, at one point you needed to like mine it, and you need to like understand how to do that. Or you needed to go to like, I mean, even with Caspa, like of course I wish I would have bought Caspa at a certain time, but at that time it was sort of like you could only get it from some sketchy exchange
You
that
can
I
only
think
get it
is
through
actually,
Discord at one point. You gotta
oh, okay.
talk with someone and do a peer-to-peer exchange on a Discord chat with some random guy who's gonna be like, "Yeah, I'll give you some Caspa for like 1,000 a million Caspa for 100 USDT."
I mean,
That never goes wrong.
Even Bitcoin back in the day was sketchy as hell. People would like, because I used to live in San Francisco, and people would be like, "Yeah, just meet me at this like parking lot, and I'll give you like the Bitcoin on this device, and you just need to like transfer this." And it was, I never did that because it just sounded too sketchy,
Mm-hmm.
but it was like one of the only ways, right? So, but with Caspa, I think it was on Trade Ogre,
Oh yeah.
and if I'm not mistaken, Trade Ogre doesn't exist anymore. Like had
Nope.
some financial or legal issues.
Yeah, they were basically scamming people, like just keeping people's funds. They took all of Caspa's funds pretty much. Everyone there that had Caspa, the price like depegged at one point and never pegged correctly again, I think. And then on top of that, like you could not sell Caspa on there
Wow.
or send it off.
Yeah.
So you just got
Yeah.
locked
So
out.
then for a while, I think it was only KuCoin before Uphold and Kraken came on board.
I think what's funny about Trade Ogres is I think it was Canada who stepped in to seize everything. So I think Canada has Caspa right now. They're like the
But
one country, I think one of the first countries to actually have Caspa. I think they seized all of their assets.
yeah, because the guys were Canadian. The
Yeah,
guys that
so
ran.
there you go. I mean, like Caspa is already being held by an entire nation.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it just feels like still very early days, which is exciting.
Yeah.
Because I think that
Not
in
being
the
on
future,
Coinbase or Robinhood or crypto.com is a big limiting factor for accessibility of Caspa. That's just that's obvious there.
yeah, I mean, that's the main on ramps for mass market.
Hmm. And they've all been spoken to, but they're gonna do with. I mean, Coinbase already has futures for Caspa, so they know about Caspa. They're just doing their own thing because you know, they're a company that needs to profit, so they're gonna do what they feel is best in their interest. And honestly, one factor about Caspa is in their eyes. I think Caspa still needs to prove itself because it is, getting closer to the end of its emission schedule, and the amount of transactions daily is still pretty low. We really need to up that. So in their eyes, as a business perspective, to them they may be seeing Caspa as a coin that definitely needs to still prove itself. Um, Now the fact that Marathon Digital Mining is mining Caspa is a big hope, to show that look, like there's already a big entity that feels that Caspa is worthy enough to mine it. Where we're talking an entity that would only mine Bitcoin, never decided to mine any other proof of work currency until Caspa came along. So that's a huge testament. But something like what we had Grayscale looking into Caspa and then they removed it. So I think that's a sign that Grayscale, whatever their teams are looking into Caspa, they saw some sort of um, not something that wasn't giving them enough confidence in Caspa.
Yeah, I think it comes back to what you were saying on the transaction volume, and that when you look at other chains, like a lot of times people talk about Solana. Yeah, like Solana just has pump fund and has meme coins, and
Hmm.
this is where a lot of volumes come from. But if you really look at the volumes, as far as I understand, like from Ethereum, most of it comes from the DeFi space. So lending, borrowing, like everything around DeFi. So I think personally, whenever Casper rolls out some of the DeFi um, companies, entities, then the transaction volumes will skyrocket.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
And
the
that will be
that's the
a
big
factor.
thing that Caspa needs, transaction volume.
Yeah. But it's understandable. I mean, the L2 hasn't come out yet. It's, it's in testing.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think for what it is doing is still pretty good though. I mean, for where it's at, for what we have and what we can use it for. Um I would like to see it finally hit the 100,000 a day, consistently. We're almost there. We are hitting like 37, 40, getting into 50,000s. But it would be nice to finally see like Caspa just break that and just always be getting 100,000 daily. Because at that point, we're not that far away from even Bitcoin status. Bitcoin still today is only doing like 400,000 a day. Um, so to see Caspa get to the 100,000 would be really great because then you have a less than $1 billion market cap coin doing 100,000 transactions a day when you have this $1 trillion asset that's only doing 400,000. So I think that'll really make a big testament to what Caspa is.
Yeah, it'll be a big signal for sure
Mhm.
for anybody who's been kind of waiting on the sidelines. But I think it's like with crypto, God, it's just like in the last, if it's one thing the last few months has shown us is that there's just such heavy manipulation.
Yeah.
Uh, like, and depending on how far down the rabbit hole you go with that, I mean, the manipulation could go beyond just market makers.
Mm-hmm.
But just keeping it at that level, let's say, I think this is where Caspa could really shine if people were one holding back from transaction signals, volume signals, and two if they're trying to load up at the lowest prices because it just wasn't profitable enough at 20 cents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And but yeah, I mean, this space just has a lot of sketchiness to it that just is holding a lot of people back from ever getting in it. And until those stuff get cleaned up, that's going to be another huge barrier for just adoption, in general, for people even being interested in the space, because it's like constantly one after another, you're just hearing another kind of scandal or some kind of manipulation. Um, People just doing shady things behind closed doors to profit the most and disrupt things. So it's just like it's going to be an uphill battle for sure for Caspa, but at least it has a really great foundation, enough good foundation where there's going to be always a lot of holders, and a lot of new users that are going to become new believers and stick around, to keep propping up and marketing Caspa out to more and more people.
Yeah, that's why you'll see on my profile that I coined this term Caspa's Gen Z's Bitcoin and Caspa the upgrade,
Yeah.
because I really think that those are two slogans or kind of core marketing messaging that should be used for, because on one side, I think Gen Z, well, first of all, Gen Z is really who pushes social media on X, TikTok, etc.
Yep.
And I think that they're looking for their own coin, their own Bitcoin, because by now Bitcoin, with all of the ETFs and institutional money and some of the news that have come out recently around potential wrongdoing, it's like in connection with Bitcoin, I just think that the younger generation is looking for something that's new,
Mm-hmm.
next generation technology, and that they're early to as well.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Them feeling early to a technology like this is going to be great. Gen Z is, we are the next generation, and our generation is, we like things to be fast. We like things to be a click of a button. Um, and so any person who starts to jump in the rabbit hole of crypto world, and then they start to learn about BTC, and they grew up with technology already, I think it's only logical for them to consider Caspa as well. And I think we're just gonna keep on happening is there's gonna just be less and less maximalism for only Bitcoin, um, as time goes on, because the new generation is definitely gonna be seeking for things that are more in line with how technology is today.
Yeah, and not just from technology, but just, I don't know, just from a like branding or newness perspective as well, because I see that a lot across different industries, not even crypto. When I think of, I have like when I think of Gen Z or even younger, I think it's called Gen Alpha. Um, it's like you look at sports brands, and what is everybody wearing now? They're wearing Gymshark, right? That's not Nike, Puma, and some of the legacy brands that are getting a lot of the attention these days, especially on social media. It's Gymshark.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's quite off topic with crypto, but I'm just saying that it shows me, whether it's cars with Tesla versus some of the old legacy brands, whether it's clothing or gym clothing with Gymshark. Um, Younger generations want to have something new that they feel like is theirs,
Yeah. For sure.
and that they had a part in shaping the trajectory as well. Because that's with Gymshark, that's really the case. There's a lot of influencers who push that brand.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely can attest to like feeling like just being able to know that I'm a part of shaping the future of Caspa, hoping it get adopted in some kind of way, and just being a part of that is it's huge for me. Like that's an opportunity that a lot of people don't realize they can even seize too. Like I don't got to be the only one. Um, I think we need more advocates and influencers and people who are actually like in there testing these apps and trying to help get this stuff adopted for the rest of the world. So you can actually be a part of something here, and part of something that I really do think would actually help humanity, um, and giving people just a better sound monetary system to be able to save in and use. And then also the the cherry on top is just the fact that this monetary system isn't exclusively only a monetary system. It just branches out into so many things that um, it's limitless. Like the use case potential. There's so many use cases that we probably don't even know yet will probably become a thing for Caspa.
Yeah, for sure. And I think there's something that I wouldn't say gets overlooked, but maybe it's just not singled out so often is that Caspa is an appreciating asset. So, and it's also the payment layer for anything built on top of it. So, if you build a YouTube or a Twitch or anything like consumer related on top of it, and those content creators get paid in Caspa, or they're earning in Caspa, they're earning an appreciating asset the same way that some you heard back like some years ago, even like I think it was like an NBA player that was like, just pay me in Bitcoin my salary,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But Bitcoin doesn't really allow for those kind of payment transactions, whereas Caspa does. So it just is to me kind of like a no-brainer that eventually that there will be some developers who come up with really good commercial consumer products where people can get paid in Caspa instantly without any middleman and get paid in an appreciating asset.
I think I think something that would be cool to see, for like Vivor as an example, is like somehow being able to find a small channel like on Twitch or even on YouTube that like live streams normally, and they have maybe consistently like 100 people, and being able to give them like a offer to switch to Vivor, and then like when you switch over to Vivor, all your fans will learn about Caspa, whatever. They'll be able to donate to you in Caspa right away. And I really think that would be a really cool thing to see. Just like, because I think it would be a really easy way to onboard a whole bunch of people, because these fans are going to love that creator so much. They'll go to Vivor. And then as long as Vivor has like a very easy way to get Caspa for these users that go to Vivor, then they'll be able to donate to their creator and everything, and use the network. Especially because Vivor also has like integration with Cassia messaging when you're chatting. So that'll just be something. I think that's a really good idea to try and attack.
Oh, for sure. And I think there's a lot of historical data on this because there's been so many platforms that have come out, like Vine back in the day. So it hasn't just been like YouTube and Twitch, but there's been many platforms, and there was always reasons why the creators would decide to switch from one to the other.
Mm-hmm.
Better payment terms, or Blue Ocean, where they had, they could be the first one on a new platform that was starting to take off.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's why some of these content creators are where they are today, because they were early on certain platforms.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure. And especially if for Viver's case, because it is a very new platform, you don't need to get a big content creator yet. What you do is you just get a smaller creator, and you don't even need to offer much, because if you get a smaller creator, they're most likely not even making a lot as it is. They're not even making a guaranteed check to be on the platform that they're on, because they're so small. But so you can easily just say, hey, like, we'll give you $100 a month, if you come to this platform, and then, you know, only exclusively use this platform, for a month. Try it out. We'll give you $100 to be on this platform. Try it out and see if you like it, and then see, that could onboard a good 100 people. Boom, right into Caspa right there.
Yeah, for sure. I wanted to also ask you, do you have any allocation in Tau by chance, or
I
anything
do
in
not.
AI?
I've had a lot of people talk to me about it a little bit, and share some things about it, but I don't. I would say largely, I would say part of it is just because of willful ignorance of it, and then the other part is just simply like, I don't. To me, I don't see it as being a like an actual network that I would be advocating for, since it's not. To me, cryptocurrency, is for me, primary should be the currency aspect of it, and then all this other stuff is like kind of just built on top of that foundation. And yeah, for me, for that network, it doesn't. To me, it doesn't seem like that's like the case for it. I know it's like more like AI related stuff, but yeah, that's pretty much as my knowledge goes with that.
Yeah, I'm doing my research just to understand more, because I mean, AI is the future. It's already here, but I don't know enough about decentralized AI and the
Yeah,
benefits of
that's the big thing too.
decentralized.
It's like, to me, another thing too is AI is the AI market for crypto is going to be extremely niche, I believe. And so the long-term potential, I don't see as high, because it's always just going to be a niche market. The buyers of it are going to be very low. Whereas, like, for monetary use cases, when you're advocating for a coin because it has a monetary fundamental behind it, that can be marketed to everybody, because everybody uses some type of monetary system, and everyone's experiencing issues in their monetary system. And so when you're marketing something as a alternative, you can market to anybody. Now, if you got a project that's just AI focused kind of thing, like, oh, it can do this, like decentralized AI, whatever, all this kind of stuff, your market is so niche. So it kind of just falls flat long term, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still doing research, so I'm still seeing like what the best use cases are for it. But I mean, I got interested uh back in the day with like ICP
Hmm.
because the concept made sense to me, like having a wide distributed computer. It just sounded like, science fiction or something. Like, wow, there's going to be this super computer that's distributed across the world, but that didn't really that hasn't really like taken off.
Yeah, and I think largely, again, is because the foundation of ICP, for one, I mean, like, the fundamentals of it were not that great in terms of how it was allocated, but then you also have that the foundation of it was not monetary based. It was utility based. And I think that's just what sets Caspa apart from all these other networks, is because anything a network is trying to do, focus on one thing, why can't you just do it on Caspa? You most likely can do it on Caspa, and then on top of that, you're building on a foundation that's monetary focused in terms of use case, which is always the best market to tap into. People who believe that a project is an alternative to fiat and is something you save in and is something you use as money.
Yeah.
I think ICP is pretty cool. They've got some interesting stuff that might come out this quarter. Like I
What
think
does it?
their that caffeine AI I think is supposed to come out this quarter. They also have one of their hackathons for ICP. Somebody put a Caspa wallet SDK script. So there seems to be quite a bit of overlap between ICP and Caspa.
Yeah, there's a lot of like, um, there was that one huge advocate of ICP. I haven't seen him in a while. Maybe I'm not sure if he's still advocating for ICP. Um, that Jerry guy, but he always hated Caspa. But it's just like everything that ICP is doing, Caspa essentially is able to do, and then and it's also whatever you do on Caspa to me is just on a way better network to be doing it on in terms of fundamentals and long-term value proposition. Whereas ICP, you got basically a huge group of people who got a lot of the allocation in the beginning and then um, are using it to fund what they're trying to do, and it hasn't really resulted too well for them. Uh, Developer for the iOS Cassia beta app. Um, he just put a new update today and said that this update is pretty much going to be a feature freeze. There's not going to be any more new features as he's preparing to hopefully do a public beta for everyone. So that's going to be really cool to see. He said he wants to add this new feature called, let me see if I can get the name right. Deterministic aliases. So basically in Cassia, at the current moment, you have to send a handshake before you're able to talk to someone, and then they have to accept your handshake. But uh, an individual figured out how to do deterministic, basically, aliases, where it allows you to send, basically open up your channel to a specific address, open up your address to a specific address, and as long as they do the same, then you can automatically just start texting each other, and you don't even need to send handshakes to each other. So that actually increases your privacy because handshakes require you to send about zero point 0.2 Caspa to start a conversation with somebody, and then they send the 0.2 back to you basically. Now you basically are like sending a payload that just states that you're opening up your address to another address, and then this other address is, if they do the same, you're able to communicate with each other. And from my understanding, I think it no longer requires you to have to send Caspa to that address, meaning that you don't need to basically let people know which person you just started texting. So that kind of increases your privacy in that aspect when it comes to chatting with people there. Another cool thing is group chats are also in the works for Cassia. That's being developed. Haven't been able to. I was testing it out, but it had a few bugs. But it's just cool that it's actually possible to get group chats. It takes work, but developers are figuring it all out how to do this all on Caspa.
I thought Cassie already had public channels. Isn't that a group chat?
Not necessarily, because anyone can join it and it's publicly viewable. Um, so we call those broadcast. What's coming next is Cassia group chats, where you can literally select which addresses you want to be able to be in the group chat, and then I think there's also an ability to kind of have like some like admin controls within that group chat, all on Caspa, and then you can even like give the admin controls to someone else, some other address that's in the group chat that you make. But I'm currently close to approaching 3 hours on here. It was fun to be able to do a live stream. Wanted to put out something. It's been a while. Um, but yeah, I think I'm gonna call it quits here. I want to thank everyone for joining. It was a pleasure to have you all here, especially those on YouTube, those that did join on Vivor and donated. Just wanted to share that if you guys don't have any any kind of hardware wallet yet, cold storage wallet yet, there's a links down below on YouTube for you to join. Go to the link tree, and you can get yourself a Tangent wallet or even a Ledger wallet. Tangent, if you use the code Caspa Silver at the checkout, you receive 10% off your order. I receive a commission, greatly supports the channel. Ledger is an affiliate link. I think you and I would both get like $10 in Bitcoin if you buy with my affiliate link there on that. And then on top of that, look into the Patreon, look into becoming a YouTube channel member as well. Those are just $5 a month. Either one that you subscribe to, you get the same benefits. You get access to all of my YouTube videos before they go out live to the public. You'll also be able to see my entire portfolio. And then also, I just started doing monthly like macro updates, pretty much how I view the market and sharing what I'm doing with my money, sharing what I'm doing with my portfolio. So those will come out every single month if you are subscribed to those. $5 a month. And then also, I like to take a little bit of your donation and put it into the Caspa Silver Fund so that we can donate to projects that are being built on Caspa and continue helping them thrive. So thank you everyone for joining and listening. And I just want to see you guys in the next one. And as always, don't be average, be different.